It's 6 o'clock, I gotta go out of school up there, so I guess we're gonna start this council meeting now. We're in a good mood now. Yeah, everybody, all of you right now. Appreciate y'all coming, glad to see all y'all here. I don't see my chaplain, so now I'm gonna give some prayer and I'm gonna pledge the flag. Let's pray. Dear Lord, thank you for the blessing of the day. Give us strength, courage, and wisdom to make proper decisions for the city of Lula. Amen. Jason, salute, pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. First thing on the agenda tonight is citizen comments, and the city council has adopted rules for comments. And here they are. A time for citizen and public comments will remain available at the beginning and ending of each city rules work session and council meeting. Comments can be made by anyone, including business owners whose businesses are located within the city limits of Lula. Comments will not be limited to any topic. Comments must be directed to the mayor and council. Language must remain civil, and the speaker should avoid personal attacks on the council or staff. The speaker should state their name and address. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. A timer will be set, and in 3 minutes, the speaker will be asked to bring the comment to a close. If there's something else to be said, an opportunity will be available at the next session to offer citizen comments. Do I have any comments today? All right. There'll be a time in the meeting comments too, so we're going to carry on then. Everybody's seen the agenda. Tony's out of town tonight, why not here, in case everybody's wondering, we'll put that on record. All right.
Frank, we can't do the number 7, it's not done this time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mayor, withdraw item number 7 for the evening.
Okay. We will take off item number 7 of the, since we're not quite ready to discuss it tonight. So any other changes to the agenda? Did want to entertain a motion?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Second made by Juliet. Made by Juliet, second Denise. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Agenda approved. All right. Everybody have a copy of minutes from the last meeting? So look those over, that case, those any changes this week, we'll vote on next week.
Okay.
And the order of the month is be picked next week, y'all find some pretty yards this month. And money down, finances, Frank.
You have a different format in front of you tonight, if you look at the short package. It's the first go around running CSI internal, so you see the budget number, what we spent last month, what's been spent year to day, what's remaining, and the percentage remaining. So we've done it quick and dirty. We're still working through each of those categories, but we believe that's a starting point for you for a monthly update of what's been spent and what's been received in revenues. Now, like I said, we're still verifying the numbers and making sure we all agree or that there's nothing miscoded right now. So we will make updates as we go along. This is for Tony, since he's the one that asked.
We'll make sure he gets it.
So basically, as you can see, we have $1.6 million in the general fund, $192,000 in the water fund, $107,000 in the utility deposit account. We have $179,000 in the water tap fees, and just short of $2.2 million in the sewer tap fees. What that means is Moss Farms has paid for their year 2 sewer reservation fees. The Hall County SPLOST 8 has $3.4 million in it. Banks County SPLOST 2017 has 196,000, and Banks County T-Splosh has 371,000. And then ARPA still has 186,000 remaining, and most of that will be used for the lift station.
Because we got to the end of the year spend it back. We got to spend it by the end of the year, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Or send it back one of them.
Yes, sir.
I thought we had spent it, was kind of surprised still in this.
It's been obligated
Okay.
and everything,
That's what
it's
I said.
just we gotta spend it.
Thank you, Frank. Anybody got a question on talk like that? I'm like, glad to say, point back and work, city number of funds, instead of trying to write it down. Thank you, Frank. Okay, utility issues, we're gonna start with the water tank banks, the birthday presentation, and
Yes, and I'll just be brief. We've been looking at our water tanks, and as you all know, we did the external painting on the main tank 2 years ago. A little over 2 years ago, so, but it's time to look at the big pictures, and we'll get back on a broader discussion after we have the presentation from, Massey Hughes with American Tanks. They came up and did some repairs on our tanks when the last one was shot, and took a look and actually made a repair on the one at the cemetery for us. So, Massey, I'll turn it on, turn it over to you. Thank you, Frank.
if y'all,
We'll have to do it
I'll
out here to
mark
see
it,
it.
that one side, so
This
that
one
one
is-
hasn't seen it.
If you want to sit here, the HDMI cables we have to
That's
replace.
fine, I can see
You
from
can
here,
see.
I'm good.
Okay.
And we saw it in the meeting, it's like, you're gonna step out and you say, Mark, it's kind of shoot.
It looks like pretty good from over here.
You can see that?
Yep.
But you can't. We got a wall, we did it on purpose, you know that, right?
I know.
Go ahead.
Good evening, thank you all very much. My name is Massey Hughes from American Tank Maintenance. A little bit about myself. I'm retired military, was in the U.S. Navy for 21 years, flew helicopters. And I've been doing tank maintenance industry, in the tank maintenance industry for the last 18 years. Came up and inspected all your
Massey,
tank.
I'm gonna stop you 1 second,
Go ahead.
sorry. If you'll grab one of the mics, because some of the ones in the back, I can already see it on their faces, are having a hard time. Sorry.
It doesn't help my voice is messed up anyways. Perfect, this may help. So I do apologize, this is not my normal voice. About 2 years ago I went hoarse and never came back. So we're dealing with that. Anyways, we'll jump right in. As our name, as it implies, we're American owned, we're Georgia based, we're only 2 hours away. We established ourselves to maintain pride excellence in the water tank maintenance industry. We are only focused on water tank maintenance only. We don't build them, but we do specialize in maintaining them. Like I said, myself, I've been doing it for 18 years. My team has over 250 years of experience. We build business relationships based on trust and integrity. What we stand on, what we say, and what we do, a handshake and a word actually means something. We are not a nationwide company. We don't want to be. We're focused in the Southeast. So if you drew a line from Tennessee, Mississippi, North Carolina, to the Southeastern Conference, which we can't say anymore because of Oklahoma and Texas, but we are focused on the Southeast. We currently maintain over 1,402 tanks in the Southeast under a professional service asset management program. Our mission statement, you can read as well as I can: highest quality service, customer satisfaction at the right price. I'm going to talk a lot about customer service because we take a lot of pride in what we do and how we do it. So right there it is. Customer service. What we do is inherently dangerous, but what you guys are going to see every day is, and for Frank and Jerry, they want to get hold of somebody, and pick up the phone and have somebody on the other end immediately and not worry about some name or number, and somebody's going to call you back 4 weeks later with an issue. So we take a lot of pride in that. I'm available 24/7. And trust me, people have tested me on that one. Professional and quality work. We know that bad news travels faster than good news. We don't want bad news stories, so we focus a lot on professional quality and professionalism and quality work when it comes to renovations. And at the best price. Like I said, we've been doing this for many, many years. We understand the challenges that everybody has. It doesn't matter if you have 1 tank or 40 tanks. You still have the same financial issues maintaining your infrastructure, including your tanks. As far as capabilities, professional water tank services, tank maintenance programs, we can do one-off, exteriors, interiors, and a lot of stuff in between. Mixing systems, logos, and you name it. Again, world-class customer service and building strong relationships. We don't look at this like a fire and forget kind of relationship.
People come paint your tank and you never hear from us again. This is an ongoing professional service. We are responsible for your tanks. Under our maintenance program, you get inspection reports every year. The state loves our program. When you tell the state during your sanitary survey that you're under a maintenance program, they don't even bother looking at the tank because they know they're maintained at a much higher level, even than their expectations. One of the reasons we're a Southeastern company is because we want to be committed to your concern. For example, about a year ago, I had a call about 10 o'clock on a Wednesday night. A customer in South Carolina said somebody just shot a hole in their tank. We mobilized a crew and were there the next morning before the tank was even drained. $15,000 repair. Didn't cost the customer a dime because they were under a full service maintenance program. The maintenance program that's out there today, my team developed it in the 80s. We've added a few things to it. One of those is an annual review of your count. We take a look at what work's been done this year and what work's been coming up next year, 3 years, 5 years, so people can plan accordingly. Nobody likes surprises, so we want to make sure that everybody's aware of what's going on. The Tank Asset Management Program, full service maintenance program, is built around what AWWA is focused on. AWWA is American Water Works Association. They're focused on safety, sanitary, structural, coatings, and security. All of these are very, very expensive if they're left unchecked. So that's why we focus on those 5 different things. As far as the maintenance program summary of coverage, it's a full service tank asset management program. It's a comprehensive, proactive approach to maintenance, not a reactive approach. Your maintenance fees are fixed. You are completely protected against anything that happens in the future industry. If the cost of paint goes up, cost of fuel goes up, you're completely protected. Your pricing will not change. We do annual inspections every year, so your tanks are looked at, you have reports every year. Any kind of repairs that need to be made are also made at that time. We do washouts every 2 years. It's a proactive short and long-term maintenance. All of your future renovations are included. Now you guys have 2 different style of tanks. I'm going to talk about here in a little bit, which you've got an elevated steel bolt or steel tank, and you've got 2 standpipes which are bolted. They're completely different tanks. I'll talk about that here in a little bit. Emergency services, emergency repairs are included in the maintenance program. We assume full risk of premature failure. That's a fancy way of saying lifetime warranty. As long as you're in our maintenance program, we are responsible for those coatings and any other repairs that were made on those tanks. For example, on your big elevator tank, we didn't paint it in 23, but if we take it over tonight, that's our responsibility. If it fails in 2 years, it's our responsibility. It does not cost you any extra. Bottom line for you all in the city of Lula is hassle-free tank maintenance. This is just a list of references. It's a partial list, but we've got Dawn, I got Cleveland, Denrest, Helen, a lot of folks near you guys, Raven County, Baldwin, Houston. I mean, it's a very long list. I'm not going to name them all. This is just a partial list of customers that we maintain in this general area. So here's the 300,000 elevated tank. Like Frank alluded to earlier, this tank was renovated in 23 on the outside. Okay, and I'll give you a little bit of history there here in a moment. But the exterior is in good shape, which is a good thing. I'm going to go through these pictures. That's your ladder gate. On the ladder, that's the bottom of the bowl, and it's very obvious. I've been doing this for 18 years. Obviously, it's very obvious this tank is freshly been painted. It was in good shape, and this is what it should look like. There's your riser manway. These are struts between the legs. We're up top of the catwalk. That's a sidewall manway. Just looking at a few different areas. You see a little bit of paint failures there on the catwalk. That's because of the pooling water. They should have put peepholes there to prevent that from occurring, but they didn't. So that's something we'll handle. Here's your logo. From the ground level, it looks pretty good, but when you look at it close, it kind of looks a little shoddy. You got to look at stuff that's missing there, but not a big deal, and that can be addressed. This is your target gauge. Target gauge just shows you the water level and allows your water guys, Frank, and anybody else to drive by the tank and see what water level is in the tank. Empty, halfway, or full. These typically break a good amount, so this is something that's covered under the maintenance program. If it's not working, you just one phone call, we come fix it. This is your ladder. We're up top of the hatch. Important to note on this tank, when we inspected this tank, it was not locked. That is a huge liability for a tank like this to not be locked. You'll find that the lock was sitting right here on the ladder. So obviously this hatch needs to be locked, and that's something we can check on inspections. And if we ever find out that it's not locked, we put our lock on it or a new lock. This is your target gauge assembly. This is your vent screen, This is the interior. So the interior was not done in 23. The interior right now is in fair shape, in fair to good shape. There's no problems. You're starting to see a little bit of flash rust, a little bit of corrosion, and then below the water line, you're starting to see some corrosion and some sediment, some staining, nothing major. When we get into the work schedule, I'm going to show you this interior needs to be done in about 5 years. Okay? Interiors get done every 10 to 12 years. But you can kind of see a lot of rust and corrosion that's going on below the water line. It's a very corrosive environment. You've got oxygen, you've got the water, and you've got the chemicals that are used in the water, the chlorine. Okay, this is the cemetery. So the next two tanks, it's the county line tank and the cemetery tank. They're completely different animals. These tanks are called bolted or glass line tanks. Unfortunately, they're somewhat classified as temporary tanks. They last 35 to 50 years, and closer to 35. And both of your tanks are right now at the 35-year point. So there's very little you can do to these tanks. You don't paint them because of the way they're made. It's a baked enamel on the inside and the outside. You can repair them and you kind of nurse them along. They are not a long-term solution for a water system. I think Frank will probably talk to that a little later. So we'll go through a few pictures. You'll see these used mainly in grain and on farms. They're not typically used for water. But again, they're bolted, they've got panels, they've got gaskets, which makes them very problematic over time. You can kind of see some problems that are occurring there on the side of the wall. That's your hatch. These are some examples of some of the problems that occur. This is from either somebody hitting it with rocks or from a mower, but it's damaged the baked enamel, and now you've got rust and corrosion that's occurring. And this is occurring in several areas. So this is a hole that is literally rusted through the steel of this tank. These tanks aren't that thick, but through corrosion on the exterior and corrosion on the interior, it has rusted a hole. So when we showed up to do a washout on this tank, we couldn't wash it out because we couldn't put it back in service. So we had to reschedule and come back and fix this hole so the tank could properly be washed out and properly be put back in service. This is another hole that was repaired however many years ago. It was not by us. But it's obvious there's several holes in this tank over the past several years. This is another one. This is the hatch up top. This is your target gauge assembly, and that's looking in the tank. You gotta see it, so it's not typically coated. It's a baked enamel, like I said. You've got all the bolts and all the gaskets throughout this tank. That's your vent, looking up the top of the vent, a little bit of rust and corrosion there. This is the bottom of the tank. This is the concrete floor. You've got a lot of rust and corrosion occurring in the side walls, a lot of failures, and a lot of sediments on the bottom of the tank. So and all this got cleaned out. I'll show you the pictures once it was clean. If you look at a lot of rust and corrosion along the bolts and the panels and the gaskets. This is a corrosion spot where you've got steel loss occurring on the inside and a lot of rust and corrosion on the floor. There's another seam right here that's rusting. This is the hole again. So this is after the tank was cleaned out. All that debris was removed and washed out, and this tank was disinfected in accordance with AWW before it was put back in service. So you can kind of see a big difference, but you can still see a lot of rust and corrosion that's occurring. This is the hole that I showed you earlier that we repaired. There's no real proper way to repair these, because again, they're not supposed to have holes in them like this. So we basically used a bolt, gaskets, and some special caulking to seal this hole. And much likely because of the condition of the tank, it will probably occur again in the future. County line, same story here. It's got some holes higher up. This is the one that was shot. We plugged it with the same kind of technique. It's got a lot of mold and mildew on it, occurring on the panels. All the white stuff is from a leak. It's about 75 to 85 feet high. And it's got several leaks on the backside from just holes along the panel gasket seams. That in order to repair them, you have to actually take the panel and the tank, disarray the tank to take the panel down. Here's your ladder cage target. This is just on the roof. Here's your hatch. Target assembly. This is looking inside the tank. This tank was full of water when we inspected it, so we did not do a washout, but it's scheduled to be washed out under the maintenance program. So that's kind of it for the pictures. Any questions on, as far as the pictures go? Okay. So what I'm gonna do now is show you kind of the traditional model compared to a full service maintenance program. On the left is the traditional broken, fragmented business model where you're the tank owner, you get an engineer involved, which is gonna cost you money, you get coatings manufacturers. We use Tnemic, which is the best in the industry. We use 99.9% of the time we use Tnemic unless a customer asks for a different product. But they are the best in the industry, and they stand behind the products. You gotta have contractors and inspectors, which are also gonna cost you more money. But the bottom line on this model is nobody's assuming the risk and responsibility for maintaining this tank. The best you're gonna get is a 1-year warranty. So for example, if that elevator tank failed tonight, that would be on you to fix it. Nobody's gonna come back and fix it, no engineer, no contractor. They're gonna end up pointing fingers going, not my problem. So you're not protected at all. On the right-hand side is the maintenance program. You're the tank owner, American Tank Maintenance, and your tank. We assume all the risk and liability under a full warranty. I have 4 engineers on staff. We don't charge you engineering fees. I've got 4 inspectors on staff. I have a relationship with Tnemic. If I call them right now, they're gonna pick up the phone. And I've got a stable full of contractors. Okay, we're responsible, and we assume all risk and liability for the maintenance of your tank. This is just another model showing the traditional model on the top, full service maintenance program on the bottom. Under a typical model, the tank needs to be painted in the first year, and then it's going to be painted again about 12 years out. Generally speaking, exteriors last 8 to 10 years, interiors last 10 to 12. So in this model, the traditional models, they typically wait to 12 years, and they do the interior. Unfortunately, by then, the exteriors usually fail, and it looks pretty bad. Under the maintenance program, we do the exterior every 8 to 10 years, interior every 10 to 12. We do washouts every other year. We do visuals every year. So your tank is inspected with a report. That's why the state loves the program, because it's a proactive approach to maintenance. Emergency services, emergency repairs, and a lifetime warranty. So you can see you get a lot more bang for your buck. I'm going to show you here in a little bit how that saves you money, but you get a lot more services when you're under a full service maintenance program. So the benefits, we assume all the risk. Inspections every year with detailed reports. So I'm going to show you here a little bit your working fee schedule. The renovation cost, which on this particular example is going to be the interior for this tank. Those costs are spread out 9 years. There's no cost to do that. Your fees are fixed for 12 years, and inflation is capped. So we're capping inflation today. It doesn't matter what happens 15 years from now. You're completely protected. Your exterior renovation is built in every 8 to 10 years. Interior is built in every 10 to 12. Emergency services, emergency repairs, like we talked about. Again, lifetime warranty. This is a key point. There's no engineering fees. So any other time you get involved in this kind of project, you're going to have engineering fees. So that in itself is saving you $16,000 on the first cycle. On the second cycle, it's saving you over $40,000. Okay, and I'll show that in a little bit. Setting a budget figure. There's no guessing. There's no concerns about what's happening in the future. You know exactly what you're going to be paying. I can show you 30 years of fees, so there's no surprises. There's absolutely no risk for the city of Lula. If you don't like the program, you can cancel. I've been doing this for 18 years. We've got 1,402 tanks on the maintenance program. We've only had 2 canceled. Neither one of them were for service. One was because the tank was taken out of service, and the other one was a financial reason they had to cancel. So canceling is not really something that you got to be too concerned about. So here's the working fee schedule. All right, so on the left side is your tanks. You've got the elevated, the 2 bolted. Across the top is your 1 through 10. Anything that's blue is a washout with emergency repairs. Anything that's white is visual inspections. All throughout that timeline, you get emergency services, emergency repairs. The interior is programmed in year 5. Okay, that's a projection based on our inspections and based on what we know about that tank today. But if I inspect that tank in 6 months and I find that interior is failing more than we thought it was, we're going to move that interior earlier. It's not going to change your budget line whatsoever. You'll see the fee there is $23,000 a year for 9 years. So that's a 9-year spread. And then it drops down to, I think it's 20 something. Now, on the bolted tanks, there's no coatings involved in the bolted tanks. These are inspection only type programs. Kind of keep an eye on them, do some minor repairs to kind of work Band-Aid and baby them along to get them to last probably another good 2 to 4 years. So, well, Frank can have some other discussions about other tanks to replace these tanks. So we got a total. You can pay annually, you can pay quarterly, you can pay monthly, so it kind of gives you the whole breakdown. Here's the cost savings analysis. So this is something worth looking at. This is a bid tab from when you guys put out the exterior in 23. Okay? This left-hand corner, this is from my presentation that I did back in 23. You're gonna see a number here up top. That's all the bid numbers for this particular bid you guys put out, and that's my number. So here's the summary. You guys bid it out. The low bidder was $109,000. You had engineering fees, so that project cost you $122,000. Our price back in 23 to the previous administration was $71,000. So that decision cost you $50,000, and you're not even protected at this point. So that's just kind of an example to show you the benefits of the maintenance program and how it's actually cheaper in the short term and the long term. This is just showing you a summary. You've only got one tank that requires renovations, but that's a $100,000 renovation in year 5. You're locked in today's prices, so you don't have to worry about it changing in the next 5 years. You add up the full cycle, because that tank has to be painted again in the future. Once you have to paint that interior and exterior again, you're looking at $237,000. And that's just using basic 3.5% inflation. That's nothing crazy. Here's the maintenance program, same work, same timeline. So you've got 409 compared to 350. It's $58,000 worth of savings that the maintenance program is saving you, and you're completely protected with 0 engineering fees. Again, benefits, we assume all the risk, inspections. So your renovation costs are spread over 9 years, fees are fixed for 12. You will not see a change in your budget line until year 13. And it's capped, that inflation is actually capped. Cost savings is $58,000. You're completely protected, your future exterior is built in. So even though you painted this tank in 23, it's gonna have to be painted again in 33 or sooner. So that's built into it, so you're completely protected. So the next go around, that 100,000 plus is not gonna be there. Future interior renovation, emergency services, lifetime warranty. No change orders. So we've inspected these tanks. We know what's going on with these tanks. There's only 3 things that cause change orders: steel loss, changing the color of the tank, or changing the logo. We're confident there's no steel loss in the elevated tank. The other tanks, there's nothing we can do about it other than fix them temporarily. We're not going to be changing panels or gaskets. If you decide to change your color or your logo, that's something we can negotiate later. Bottom line for you all is hassle-free tank maintenance. Again, here's a reference to the same list. So why partner with us? We establish and maintain long-term relationships. Properly maintain over 1,402 tanks. By the end of the year, that number will be over 1,500. The costs are spread over 9 years. Short-term, long-term savings. It's proactive approach to maintenance, not a reactive professional service. We stand behind what we say and what we do. We're focused on customer service. Again, I'm available 24/7 for anybody in this room or any issue regarding your tanks. And I know for a fact we can properly manage your tank in a timely and professional manner with significant cost savings. I know it's a lot of information. I talk fast and squeaky, but that's the end of the presentation. Are there any questions or comments?
I have a question. So if you go back to the page that had the fees listed out, the 23 and the 1,500, this one. So if we was to replace the cemetery tank with an elevated tank like the other one, the Chattahoochee tank, what would the cost be on that line?
So those tanks are taking on service, that contract will basically end, and we would renegotiate a new agreement for the new tank.
So would it be basically the same as the Chattahoochee, somewhere around that price?
No, it all depends on the size that you build. If you build a 250, you build a 500, it really depends on the size and the style of tank that you build.
Okay.
But each tank has its own agreement, so when you start taking tanks out of service or adding tanks, it's a very easy process. But that's a good question.
You bet.
Any other questions?
Thanks, Matthew.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Brendan. Next one is water tank replacement.
Yes, as we talked about here, our two standpipe tanks, they were both built in '94 and delivered in '94. As we said, they were not, you don't see those very often in water uses, smaller customers, state parks. You see it a lot more in the agricultural areas. These, one of the pitfalls, is there's no standpipe to keep pressure, so as the water comes down to level, your pressure reduces in those two tanks. It does not keep a consistent pressure.
Sorry, Frank, you might want to mute your screen because we're getting an echo.
Yeah, mute this. We got the TV remote? Okay, that works too.
Try that.
Well, maybe. Now we're not watching the
Come
movies.
on, there we go.
They definitely have a mind of their
Miss
own.
Doubtfire too.
Okay, keep talking.
So both of the two standpipe tanks that we have, the one at the cemetery actually has been out of service for a long while. We've been putting it back in service just to see that it works. We're probably in the short run take that one out completely again, just because the valves are across the railroad tracks and there's some issues there. But the other one, the big one, 128,000 gallons, it's leaking at the bolts,
Washers.
the washers have basically dry rotted, so you have to replace every one of those. So that's not and it's, he said 75 to 80, I said 85 to 90 feet tall. So you're bringing in somebody with a lift. The last repair we did there, we had to have a lift, and it was almost impossible to get it inside the fence to reach the bullet hole at 80 feet. But for planning purposes, we need to start planning today, not only just to replace those tanks, but to address the growth that we see coming. And so you have 208,000 right now in those two tanks, those standpipe tanks. I would say for discussion purposes and when we meet for the retreat and with rent and whichever engineering firm we use, we probably need to bump that up to at least 300, looking at a 300,000 gallon tank replacement now. The reality is the process to get the tank on site is about 2+ years. 18 would be on the very short and not likely, but the 2 years is a realistic time frame. So that's definitely pushing us at the 35 years and is also pushing us on the maintenance. Like I said, we tried finding somebody to do repairs. Massey went out of his ways to try to find a fix because most everybody said the only way you can fix it is to take it down and replace the panel and put it back up. Not a practical method of working. So I'm trying to put this in front of you as starting the thought process. Where do we go next with Moss Farms, with the Cedar Ridge, with Somerset at Lula, and some of the other projects at the Oaks at Lula, the Oaks at Moss Creek, Moss Farms. So there are projects coming online that we want to make sure we have the storage capacity. We have the production capacity. We want to make sure we have the storage capacity to address water consumption on a daily and multi-day basis. So this is the presentation. What I will come back is I will ask you to look at the maintenance contract and ask you to vote next week, because what I'm seeing, even with the one that was painted outside, it makes sense to be on a maintenance contract just for the emergency repairs, if nothing else, because emergency repairs come straight out of our pocket if we're not under contract. And finding somebody that will respond in a timely manner. This isn't call me at 8 o'clock in the evening, 10 o'clock in the evening, be out the next morning. This is call me today and I may be out in a week and a half. So that's not a practical solution for most of the issues that we have. So we'll continue this discussion. with utility committee as part of our retreat, and then try to bring in the engineers to start looking at the terrain, geography, and the statistics to come up with the site. There were a couple mentioned, but we still want to do the site. You know, obviously if it's property that the city already owns, that would be great, so we don't have those costs. And would one of the two standpipe sites be adequate? It all depends. So that's all I have on that. Any questions? All right. The next item is I just wanted to bring you up on the water wells at Oconee and Victoria Lane. You all know those well houses need to be addressed. Wayne's putting together the price list right now to replace the fencing, replace the roof on the one at Oconee, do some cladding of the outside, replace the doors, rebuild the well house. So as we're moving forward, we'll once again be bringing those prices to you as a group. I would say the Oconee is probably going to be about $10,000 to bring up to speed. Victoria Lane will be slightly less than that, but those are all funds. And what we recently had at the Oconee well, we had to repair the generator. It had a short in one of the, not fuse, but in one of the systems, so it did not turn on when it was supposed to. And we also had a meter issue. The meter's not that old, but just the type of well it is. It's wearing it out. Delta, we had them in and look at it. They had initially thought about doing a turbine replacement, but after looking at the type of well system, they would not recommend that, just because they figure turbines would only last 6 or 7 months before they'd have to repair them, just based on how we flow our water. So we would stick to the type of meter that we have. We're going to do a $1,400 internal rebuild of the meter, and that'll be taking place over the next week or so. Any other questions?
Frank, just for curiosity, neither one of these sites have enough elevation for us to put a tank on, do they?
Either.
Oconee or Victoria Lane, you want to have enough elevation to put a tank on practically?
Offhand,
Is there-
I would
they're
say
both-
probably not,
Both of them down the hole, right?
yeah. But we would definitely ask
Somebody check it out.
to give us the
I mean,
profiles.
since we are on the property, I mean,
No, absolutely, and that's one of our concerns right now with our current interconnect with the city of Gainesville, is it's low enough down by Denise's property that our tank has to get real low before it has enough pressure to push water into the system. So that is a concern that we'll take to Gainesville and see if we can find a better interconnect location, given where they've run their new lines, and see if there's a better point of connecting.
you have to run your tank over at the church. And they have trouble driving in our system, okay?
Well, because the connection point is down on Old Cornelia, so it's a lower elevation significantly from, especially this tank.
Anybody else got any questions? All right, advanced voting.
Joey, I'm going to defer to you.
You're all right, thank you. Mayor and council, I report to you that we coordinate, we have a intergovernmental agreement with the Hall County Board of Elections, as you know, for our municipal elections. We coordinated with staff there beginning in April and May about, we principally have been, Tangi and I have been involved, Frank and Jerry have been involved of late, but this is a task that Tangi and I try to undertake when we have our elections. So we coordinated with the Board of Elections, and we ran an ad back on May the 14th. And we stated in that ad what the positions are that's up for election, Mayor, District 2 and District 3, reporting that the regular day voting, which is November 4, will be at the regular polling place, Lula Elementary, for Banks County and Hall County voters. Gave the dates for qualifying, voter registration deadline, and advanced voting, or what is commonly referred to as early voting. That was to be here at City Hall Tuesday, October 14th through Friday, October 31. Includes Saturday, October 18 and Saturday, October 25. Those places and times were discussed with the Hall County Board of Elections office, and that ad was specifically approved. Now, since this is a general election, we have no duty to run another ad, although customarily it's run approximately 30 days before the election, but it does not have to be exactly 30. So in order to get that ad run again before qualifying, we again sent a proposed ad to the Hall County Board of Elections office to run an ad that ran on July the 30th that contained the very same information that was contained within the May 14 ad. Again, providing notice that advanced voting would be here at City Hall. Because of Tangi's connections with folks that work with the City Hall on the elections, Tangi was notified that there likely had been a change in the advanced voting location. Caught us by surprise, since this ad had been specifically approved and provided to Hall County. Unfortunately, Tangi learned last week that in fact that report was true, that advanced voting locations had changed, and that the Hall County Board of Elections had approved advanced voting locations back earlier this year. Those advanced voting locations are the Gainesville Civic Center on Green Street, the North Hall Community Center on Nopone Road, and the Mulberry Creek Community Center on J.M. Turk Road and Flowery Branch. We did not deem those locations very convenient for Lula voters, and principally due to Tangi's efforts, Hall County elections staff, Board of Elections staff, agreed that we could add Lula City Hall back as an advanced voting location for the last Saturday, October 25th, and the last week only. And initially, the report was that, okay, well, we're going to add that, but the fee will be charged to the city of Lula. We protested. So they have removed that charge. We will not be charged for Lula having the advanced location here Saturday, October the 25th, and that time is from 9 o'clock till 5, and then we will have the regular advanced voting Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The other advanced voting locations remain, which are the Gainesville Civic Center, North Hall Community Center, and the Mulberry Creek Community Center in Flowery Branch. As a result of these changes, another ad will run, 2 more ads will run in tomorrow's paper. One will restate the notice for our general election. I've removed from that ad the qualifying information since qualifying's already occurred, and I've also run an ad of notice of advanced voting locations. So the general voting, the day of voting, November 4, 2025, remains the same. And as a result of that, the advanced voting location, we can run this notice and it'll be timely when it runs tomorrow. Otherwise, since this is a general election, you have to run the notice of a change in your election day polling place has to run 60 days, but that is not changing. That will still be over here at Lula Elementary School. It's the advanced voting that we've changed.
When did we get moved to Lula Elementary? We used to be over at the Baptist Church.
The church won't do it anymore, and that came out this spring. That was part of the meetings. In fact, when we first sent the notice over to the Board of Elections, that's what we had, was it was gonna be at the church, and And we were notified that the church would no longer have the elections, and so this is our voting place, which would be the elementary school. And we initially had the early voting or the advanced voting over at the East Hall Community Center, but that also had changed and would no longer be available for advanced voting. That's the reason I know that the staff there saw those, because they notified us that we should change those. Now, you know, on their side of it, they've told us that, look, when they gave us this information, the splost vote was not scheduled to be heard, so they were giving us, or not scheduled to be on referendum. So they gave us information based upon just the city voting. All I can tell y'all is that we ran it in July and sent the ad for their approval before we ran it, and by then, splost was going to be on the ballot. So I tell y'all all that to say you're going to see that ad in tomorrow's paper. Those ads are display ads, not because I prefer that, it's because the code requires election ads to be display ads rather than in the legal advertising section. That's gonna cost the city, be just under $1,000 for those two ads. Now, the Board of Elections became aware, based upon the language within emails questioning how this could have occurred, and why we weren't notified. It was just the fact that somebody notified Tangi that you may want to check that we even found it. They're having a meeting tomorrow night. The Board of Elections is having a meeting tomorrow at 6 o'clock. So the staff there has said that we could appear and voice our concerns. So Tangi and I are prepared to go and voice the city's concerns if you so direct. The staff has also agreed to meet with Frank and Tangi to go over the tasks and the terms of the intergovernmental agreement to try to specify what may need to be changed in the intergovernmental agreement to keep this from happening in the future, and we'll likely take them up on that too. But I'm giving y'all the information. I'm hoping that the voters likewise see that information to know that it's only that last week of advanced voting that it'll be here at City Hall, and to seek your direction about whether you wish for us to appear tomorrow to express our concerns to the Board of Elections.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Certainly.
Last week, what are the dates on that? For the last week?
I'm sorry, the last week will be,
27th, 31st.
well, and will be August the 20, October the 25th is the Saturday,
Right.
and that will be here, and then the 27th
Through
through
the
the
31st.
31st.
I just wanted to make sure that
Yes.
that was correct.
Yes. And
Just to
for
clarify.
for advanced voting, the only advanced voting location open throughout advanced voting is the Gainesville Civic Center.
Okay.
The other two advanced voting locations have the same times as we will have here at City Hall.
Okay.
That is another matter for y'all to be aware of, is that since we're having advanced voting at City Hall that last week, that will be for all, that'll be all county voters
All
can
county.
come in and vote here. Tangi did inquire about what does this mean for the Banks County folks who would want to early vote, and we've been told they could vote at any of the locations that are open for advanced voting. So I regret bringing all that to you at one fell swoop, but we got it at a time when all we could do was hurry through to get the ads published as quickly as we could.
The bright side of this is we don't have to move our meeting to the depot. That's the bright side of this.
That's right.
Only I don't see that, right?
My opinion is they should go to the meeting.
Absolutely, I think they should both go to the meeting.
No, you're-
And protest the charges.
Jump up and down.
They dropped the charges, right?
Yeah, there's no fee
There's no
for us
fees,
having
they
the
drop the
early
fees.
voting location,
Make
it's
sure I
just the
understood.
ads.
Yeah, they can put the ads too, so that's good.
Yeah, they should pay for
That's,
that.
that's what I meant.
Okay, I got you.
I mean, they cost us the ads, we didn't cost us 70 ads.
We would not have run the ads again, that was why I ran them in July to get them before
Right.
qualifying, and then we would have completed the ads, because that really was not, we had one more ad to run, we just didn't have to run it in July.
Lord, this is the money.
That's right.
Did you get your marching order, right?
We will be there.
Thank you, sir. Let's see, that gets us down to, Gary, you handle this next thing, the candidates forum, is that your item?
I can.
I wasn't sure if you were or Frank was, I figured it was you.
It's me. I was asked to kind of look into this for the candidates forum, which will be held at the depot on October 9th. I believe it'll begin at 6:30. And this is going to be sponsored for the most part by the Lula Belton Historical Society. The city will have no involvement other than just providing a place and just finding the people to do it. I have gotten confirmation 2 people will moderate it that are not affiliated with the city. As a matter of fact, they don't live in the city. They're from outside the city, and they'll moderate it and ask the questions of the candidates and give an opportunity for the candidates to express some of their concerns that they want to address should they be elected, and pretty much a meet and greet, as well as some pointed questions on where they stand for City of Lula should they be elected. I believe some of the questions will come from the audience, and they'll have, be timed, that way it can move smoothly. Do you all have any questions?
Just got that forum, no debate, basically.
It'll probably be a mixture, it'll be a hybrid, probably be a hybrid. So the candidates will be invited to this. All the candidates will be invited to come to this. This is their invitation to show up at the depot on October 9th, and it'll be a good thing. It'll be a good thing.
What time?
6:30. 6:30.
The Historical Society has already gotten confirmation from 3 out of 5 candidates that they'll be there already.
Okay. All right. That'll be good. That'll be good. That just gives citizens an opportunity to, make an informed decision on where they want to go with the future of Lula. Do y'all have anything else?
Thank you, Jerry. I got nothing else. Okay, next item is not an item. Citizen comments. Looks like the next one down to. Anybody got it?
Amanda Browning, 5667 Julian Ball Road and 5525 Lula Road. In 2019, I applied for and was granted a variance for my property. My request was to build an event barn with a commercial kitchen. I submitted detailed plans, including a clear explanation of the intended use. I committed to a strict event size limit of no more than 80 guests and restrictions of noise with no activity before 10 a.m. or after 10 p.m. After careful review, the council and mayor approved my variance with one critical condition. All traffic must enter and exit via Lula Road, Highway 52, and not Julian Ball Road. The reasoning was sound. Julian Ball Road could not support the traffic volume. Now we are looking at the proposal being pushed forward by the Riles brothers for a major development on Julian Ball Road. I'm sure you've received the planning packet supporting this project. As you review it, I hope you truly consider the voices you heard last week, those of the people who actually live on Julian Ball Road. We live there. We raise our children there. Many of us hope to retire there, but in the past week, I've spoken with neighbors and lifelong residents who feel they have no choice now but to sell and leave. This is heartbreaking. As you sit here contemplating this development, I urge you to ask yourselves, is this good for the people of Lula? Or does it simply benefit the Riles brothers? We've all heard Casey say how much he loves Lula, but he doesn't even live here. So I ask you, whose voices matter more? The people who elected you or those who don't even call Lula home? And I have one little other thing to add to that. When I got approved for my variance, my plan that I had for it it was like 9 pages. It was very lengthy. Y'all asked me, well, not you, but I was asked so many different questions. And I noticed that the packet that the Riles brothers, they're building a 9,000 square foot complex plus a 3,000 square foot complex, and it is barely a quarter of a page. So if we're willing to approve somebody that's gonna have so much control in our area, you should be asking more questions. It's more than just a development on Julian Ball Road. This is a huge impact on every agricultural person around there. And I was willing to do whatever the board, whatever the council said so that I could get my thing approved, but I see them getting very, very little questions asked. They don't have to answer anything, and they simply just feel like it is already approved. So I just wanted to bring that up. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Can I just ask a question?
Come on up.
Well, I just wanna know,
Mr. Precious Banks on Blue Island Circle, y'all.
y'all skipped over the yard of the month, so I'd like to know who they are.
That's next week.
Next
Oh,
month.
that's next month?
Next
Next
Monday,
week,
next Monday.
this Monday.
Next week, okay.
Yes.
Next week.
That's just reminding the council to go out sometime this week, pick one.
Okay,
Then
okay.
that's gonna
Thank
make
you,
it.
thank you.
Anybody else? Goodness, that's too polite. Council time, let's start with Denise's time.
I don't know what to say. Thank y'all for coming out. The crowd looks great tonight. The numbers are higher than what they've been, and I appreciate that, because we like to hear your feedback. And that's really all I gotta say. Enjoy the weather. It's nice. It's not too hot. And hope everybody has a good week. Yep.
I'd like to start with apologizing to Joe and Garnet, because I didn't have time to take a shower, so. I apologize. But, anyway, get out and enjoy the weather. It's beautiful, and we'll see y'all next week.
You don't know me, Bobby. Garth?
Get you sure before next week.
That's right. I got an extra hour next week.
Thank everybody for coming. Crowd looks good.
Sorry, Jimmy.
All right, thank you all for coming out tonight. I'm sure the crowd is gonna be a lot bigger next week. But I also understand, that we actually have a lot of people right now watching us online from home. So just because they're not sitting here, they are watching us. So thank you all. Just as a reminder, the Lula Fall Festival is the last weekend this month. Just in case anybody's going to ask, there are no more booths. We are completely booked out this year. There is not an extra space I can find. So,
I count 105 there, right?
no, there's actually more than that. By the time you add up how many people get their different spots, it's a lot more booths. It's actually 140 booths.
That's what I'm getting at. How many?
So there's 140 booths, and I wanna say it's 109 or 108 vendors.
Yeah.
So,
A lot of them.
there's a lot coming to Lula, so be prepared. Actually, I have parking for them all, so you don't have to worry about that. So, thank you all. Joe, it's your turn.
No.
Have fun.
No, boy. I want to thank y'all for showing up with it, and, like somebody said, it's gonna be forward next week probably, because we do have the public hearing for the annexation request, which always stirs the pot. No matter what happens, it stirs the pot. It's gonna be here, so y'all come on early, save your seats, try to maintain your calm, and I'll try to maintain mine. Candy, I just did it again, I forgot to turn the mic. I just said, look, I forgot to turn it on and start talking.
Oh, do we need an executive session tonight?
I don't have anything.
Sorry.
Sorry. Right.
No, I defer to
No, I have no update from
Okay.
prior.
Yeah, bring that discussion to do, we thought you might have something. Okay, that's what's on there. Okay. So, we'll go back to sessions, we strike that off agenda. Anyway, thank you all for coming. And, like I said, it's gonna be interesting if we don't come on back, and I'll entertain motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Juliet, second by Connie, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. We're adjourned.
Got it.